Well, we're also counting down to Broadway's Tony Awards, and this morning a chat with a nominee who sings his heart out in the musical Violet.
CBS 2's Dana Tyler introduces us to Joshua Henry, but first, let's listen to him sing.
But you can make your music from the simplest thing, and you're the one has got to tend your soul. You got to give it room and let it sing.
That's Tony Award nominee Joshua Henry singing a song of encouragement and empowerment on Broadway in Violet, starring Tony nominee Sutton Foster. Violet is nominated as Best Revival of a Musical. We are so happy to have actor Joshua Henry with us today to talk about this musical and his nomination. Good morning and congrats.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
You're so welcome. Settling in, this is your 6th Broadway show. Shock of your 2nd nomination, how's it feeling?
It's surreal. You know, I think I appreciate it more the second time around. The first time was all a blur, but you know, you never know when you're going to be in a Broadway show again.
Let's talk about it as we look at some more video of Violet, because you portrayed this character, Flick. He's a soldier in college.
I did. It was 2003, and it was my first college production. I was a sophomore, and at that time, you know, it being my first college production, it was all about just getting the notes right and just hitting my marks now. But over a decade later, now I've, you know, just got a little more life experience, and, you know, it's about the depth of who Flick is.
Violet, portrayed by Sutton Foster, she is scarred physically, but we're talking about emotional scars in this as well.
Yes, she has a physical scar on her face, and she's on her way to find healing through a televangelist. She got the scar in her childhood, and on the way she meets Flick, who also has some scars. He, being an African-American soldier in the 1960s in the South, has had to deal with his fair share of just people belittling him. So the show is definitely about whatever scar that you have held throughout your life, throughout your childhood, whatever you hold on to. I think that's what I love about the show the most, because it taps into everyone's scar and how we deal with those things.
I spoke with your fellow nominee Sutton Foster recently, and here's what she said about playing Violet.
Violet, I can't relate to like having a physical scar, but I can relate to having emotional scarring, emotional pain, things that I so have desperately begged to God to change. There are things about her that resonate very deeply on me, within me, and so it's a gift to be able to play her every night.
Gift to be playing with her, Sutton Foster, isn't it, Joshua?
Oh,
I can tell by how you two work together.
She's amazing. Doing this show with her, I learned so much about emotional commitment. She came into rehearsal just ready to give it everything that she had, and I've been a fan of hers for a very long time, so it's quite the honor to work with her.
When we talk about where this is set in the South as Violet, and it's a bit of a love triangle in a sense,
yeah,
right?
I think it hits all of them by surprise. Violet ends up learning a lot about herself, a lot more than she intended on learning, and her healing comes about in a very different way than she expected.
What I think, too, is interesting, because here it's 1964 in the South, so we're 50 years later, interracial world. You're married to a white woman.
Yes.
And just your perspective of playing in that time and living in this time.
You know, it makes me, well, I feel really lucky that, you know, here living in 2014 in New York City, that's not an issue. But being Flick and thinking about how he would deal, or how I would deal with having, say, feelings for a white woman in the 1950s in the South, that's something that I had to really put myself in that position, and it wasn't such a simple thing.
You know, earlier we cut you off a little bit on Let It Sing. Let's listen again, because you got a big finish.
You gotta give it room and let it sing. Yeah, that's great. You know, I'm feeling these things at night, and I'm like, oh, that's how it looks. I mean, no,
it's
really
good,
great
right?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I have such a great time singing that song. I always say I don't even feel like I'm performing in that number because I so believe in the message of that song, of just finding out and not being held captive by, you know, what you look like or what's happened in the past, but really just understanding that your voice is important and you can move beyond anything that's happened, and just living a happy life.
Congrats on this Tony nomination, and best of luck on June 8th, Joshua.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very welcome. Joshua Henry on Broadway in Violet at the American Airlines Theater on West 42nd Street. Back to you.
All right. And don't forget, you can watch the Tony Awards right here on CBS 2. Tony Award winner Hugh Jackman hosts live at Radio City Music Hall on Sunday, June 8th.
What a powerful voice he has. Beautiful.